Hey everybody, welcome to BeRhythmic.com and a special video featuring my new friend Doug Horvath from Five Rivers Metro Parks in Dayton, Ohio. He is an education coordinator and a nature lover and a great guy, and he is going to teach us a little bit about making some fun noises and rhythms using natural objects, things we find in nature, and things we find around the house. Take it away, Doug.
Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. We're going to be showing some different techniques to make sounds based on our bodies and natural items that we find outside. This is a great thing to do with children or yourself to help you feel like you have a presence in the world and you're being mindful and paying attention to the world around you. You see an oak tree, you might want to pick up an acorn, or you might see a mourning dove, and it might make a cooing sound, and you might just want to talk to it. These things can be great because they're fun, and it's important to let kids know that they can have a presence too in the world, and that they can make sounds and enjoy themselves and be part of it. So we'll just talk through a couple things to do. One thing you can do is sort of pretend you're going on a hike, and I'm going to pretend right now that I'm walking outside and I see that mourning dove up there in the tree, and it's making a sound like this. So I'm making just a little whistle sound with my hands. I'm not blowing with my mouth like a whistle. I'm making the whistle here, and the way you do that is you pretend you're holding on to some air, and I've just got a little chamber air, and I'm going to flip around and show you this from the other side. So with your hands, if you hold them together and you stick out your knuckles or your thumb, you're going to blow right here on your knuckles, and some of the air is going to come down here on your wrist outside, and some's going to go inside your hand. And you just have to practice. You might get some whistly sounds or hollow sounds that kind of makes you think that you're getting close. And it's good to have challenges too for kids and yourself. So practice that. And if you change the size of the chamber by making it more squished or making it taller this way by opening your hands, it kind of makes it a little smaller, the sound will go up. So I'm again here in front, and I'm just going to whistle, and I'm going to talk to that screech owl that I saw a hole for in a tree. It was close to that mourning dove. And to do a screech owl, I'm just going to go a little higher and come down. Oh, and you might want to play a tune. Maybe you like, well, what's a good tune? How about maybe it was snowing outside and you were thinking of Frosty. Well, maybe we're going down on our walk and we see an oak tree. And oak trees have these wonderful seeds that come off of them. We call them acorns. And here's a little picture of an acorn. And they have this cap. And oh, I suppose it was my dad that taught me long ago about picking up acorns and using them to try to make a whistle. And so I have a little cap here, and I'm going to hold it here in my thumbs again. And I'll show you how I'm holding it. Here's the acorn, and I've got it right behind my knuckles on my thumb. And I'm just going to blow in there, and some of the air is going to hit this lower part of the acorn, and it's kind of sharp, and it's going to make the air go outside of the acorn and go in the inner cup. And when you split a column of air, it tends to make it vibrate as it splits, and that's what gives us our sound waves. kind of an airy sound right now. Kind of that really big windstorm sound. And so when you're out there by yourself taking a walk, well, you can make all sorts of sounds and no one really cares, do they? Sometimes though, when you're in a group, it might be annoying to some folks. And so one of the ways that we learn to interact with the world is we have our own presence, but we also have sort of our group dynamics. And we want to pay attention to people's feelings, but we also want to give people a little bit of tolerance too, so that they have a place in the world too. And for kids, being able to make some sounds outside, it's really fun for them and it's a challenge. And we need to kind of make sure we don't just rule that out right away because it could annoy somebody. Sometimes if you have other sounds that are going around anyway, it sort of blends in together. And being outside is a great place to make these kinds of sounds. So you might be walking along and, well, maybe there's some grass that's growing, and kids have been doing this for years, and you could just take a piece of grass. And again, we're going to use this to split the air. And what I often do is I cut it in half, so I have a real nice clean edge. And you're going to use your thumbs again, and you're going to suspend the piece of grass between your knuckles and your part of the palm. I don't know if you can see that. This is from the back side. Okay, good. And then on the front side, we're just going to see our knuckles right there. Oh, I lost it. It's important to kind of keep it stretched tight. So I've got it here, here. Yeah, I got it fairly tight. And again, sometimes these things are a little challenging and you can get frustrated with that. And then if you keep practicing, you get to overcome that frustration. And there's lots of things that frustrate us in our lives. So this is kind of a non-threatening way to deal with the frustration of learning how to make sounds with things that you find around them. Yeah. Got to grab that piece of grass and get it nice and taut. Sometimes I keep my knuckles a little more bent, and then as I straighten them up, it tightens up the piece of grass. It's always fun. And well, if you don't have a piece of grass, and maybe you walk by a pond, you might want to try to talk to the toads that might be out there. And a great way to talk to toads is to whistle, but also hum at the same time. So if you're whistling again and humming, you get this really kind of funny sound. And toads will trill that way at night, and you'll hear them and they sound so loud it makes your whole body vibrate. So other animals are out there too, and they've got a place in the world and they're making big sounds too. So it's fun just to go ahead and talk right back to them. Oh, another thing you can do with whistling, which is always fun, is you can try to gurgle a little bit of water or a little bit of saliva in the back of your throat. I'll just take a little drink of water. I have some. And I'm going to trill with like a screech owl makes this little trill. And there are little birds out here, chickadees and tufted titmice and other little songbirds that, well, screech owls like to eat them. And if you want to see some of those birds come up close to you, because they want to know where the predator, where the little screech owl is. So if you make a sound like that, a lot of times they'll pop up to say, kind of look around, where is that bird? Especially in the day, because they can get away pretty easy during the day. So try this. You're kind of gurgling a little bit, but you're whistling. And that's a great little trick to bring in little birds. Bird watchers have long ago figured out if they go or pish, or sometimes they'll go, and that's just making a little whistly sound with your teeth. And again, birds, when they see a predator, sometimes will make a little alarm call, and that will alert other birds to come to figure out where the predator is. Because if you have lots of birds and they're all watching the predator, it's hard for that predator to sneak up on them. And so they talk to each other, and you can talk to them too. It's just always fun to make sounds like the animals. And well, you might be walking and maybe you had a picnic lunch outside and you've got a couple spoons. There's lots of things that you can use to make rhythms too as you're walking and enjoying yourself. So I have a pair of spoons and I'm putting them back to back like this, and I'm holding them in one hand with a finger in between them, and I'm just going to tap them. And a nice way to use spoons is to test it out and just kind of hit them up and down on your knee. And if they give you a nice sound, well, then you're holding it pretty good. Sometimes they get a little sideways from each other and they won't make such a good sound. So put them right above each other and then test them out again. And if you like that sound, you can do it faster. And you can put your hand above them and hit your hand on the way up. Now, one thing that's also fun with your fingers, if you can sort of make them into little steps going sideways, and then as the spoon goes down them, it'll make a little click sound each time. And oh, there are so many other rhythm instruments that you might have at your house that you can bring with you. You might have dwarvos, or you might have little chimes you can hit. Toys. Basically, what we're trying to say is enjoy yourself. Pay attention to what's around you outside. Pick up acorns, pieces of grass. Whistle back at the animals you see. Try to get them to interact with you. Talk to the toads and the little birds and the screech owls and doves, and make a place for kids to also be able to express themselves and interact with the world. And it's just a great way to learn and experience the world, and also overcome frustrations as we learn to play these things. Because learning how to overcome frustrations is, well, that's part of life. And so the more we can practice that in a non-threatening way, like just making sounds, the better off we are. So thanks for watching.